Hey, what is going on? Thank you for taking a second to watch this video. I promise not to eat up too much of your time, but this is going to be a video breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes that beginner online coaches make with their coaching business that really keeps them from seeing the growth, the results, the income, the impact, everything else that they want to see from their online coaching business. Now, whether you are thinking about launching an online coaching business or maybe you've been doing some online coaching already, these 5 mistakes you need to be paying attention to so you don't make the same mistakes that I made along my journey. Speaking of my journey, give me 30 seconds. Let me tell you about why you should be listening to me in the first place and kind of how we got here. All right. So, first and foremost, I got my start back in 2020, spent the first 12 months making every mistake in the book. And through in the beginning of 2022, I was able to actually launch my first product. Very simple product, but that product led way to me being able to quit my full-time job, go full-time online, and I was actually able to see my first six-figure year by the end of 2022. Now, I actually turned that six-figure business into a seven-figure business by the end of 2023, being able to launch 5 different products and even started my own coaching business as part of that process and that journey. Now, I didn't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to slap coach in my social media bio and start calling myself coach." In fact, I really hated the term coach, and I even hate using the word coach to describe myself. But the reality is that's exactly what I do for people. And the biggest thing that's allowed me to do that is through avoiding these mistakes that we're going to be covering today. Because again, I didn't wake up one day and start calling myself a coach. It wasn't until I started to see results, see the growth, that people started to look to me to coach them to do the same thing. So wherever you're at on your journey, lean on what you've been able to accomplish, and then let that feed into your coaching business. But before we go that far, let's break down these 5 biggest mistakes so you can avoid making them and see the impact, the growth, the income, the client results, everything else that you want to see from your online coaching business. Okay? So let's jump into these bad boys and start breaking these suckers down. Now, mistake number 1 is being product focused. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people immediately start to look at their product the same way that we look at the way we determine value. And when I say value, I don't mean in that very subjective provide value type of way. In fact, when I say value, I'm more meaning as to what the real worth of something is. What's the real world value of something? Now, what typically happens is we immediately look at the product that we're offering, the product that we're trying to sell. Then we start thinking about all the stuff inside of it. Oh, you're going to get templates, you're going to get group calls, you're going to get one on one calls, you're going to get community for support, chats, Slack channels, all kinds of videos, all this stuff. And we immediately look at the only way to determine the value of our coaching program or our coaching offer is by how much stuff we're packing inside of it. But what if I told you that it has absolutely zero to do with stuff? It has nothing to do with stuff. You can load it up with more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, and that still does not determine the real world value of your coaching program. But what happens is most people immediately latch on to that. We look at the way we buy groceries or what we get at the a restaurant or what we get at a hotel as determining the value of the product. But in reality, all that stuff inside of it is not where we should be putting our focus on. That's what I mean by product focused. Rather than thinking of your value or the value that your coaching offer has, stop looking at it from how much stuff they're going to get and start looking at it from what is it going to help them achieve. Okay. And then through that, then we can start to relay real benefits, which then allows us to see what problems we genuinely solve through our coaching offer. Okay. And yours is going to look all kinds of different than mine does. But this same singular thing that we can focus on will allow us to relay the real value, the real benefit, the transformation that somebody's going to go through and what problem it's going to solve, how that problem is going to help them in their business, in their life, whatever it might look like for your area of expertise. Now, That actually leads into problem number 2, which is not having a clearly defined outcome. And what I mean by a clear defined outcome is, where are you going to take them to? Now, immediately people will throw around, oh, I'm going to help you start a business, or help you lose weight, or help you go viral, or, I'm going to help you, build a brand, or I'm going to help you create a logo. And there's all kinds of things that people immediately latch onto. But the reality is, there's no real clear definition of what that outcome will look like. Okay. That's like saying, I'm going to buy this brush and it's going to help you comb your hair. Okay. But what does that outcome look like? You got to think of it. Alex Hormozy did this really, really well. I was listening to his podcast back in August of 2022. It was about 3 weeks after we launched our Triple C's program. That's what actually unlocked the first 6 figures in my online business, or helped launch the 6 figures in my online business. But he said it the best. It's not so much about the traveling. Like, think of it like a vacation. Okay. And then I'm going to probably butcher it, but think of it like a vacation. When you think about going on vacation, the last thing you're thinking about is packing your bag, or driving to the airport, or hopping on a train, or even flying on the airplane, or driving in a car, or all the pit stops that you're going to make along the way, or the coffee that you'll have at the airport diner, whatever that might look like. Okay, no one's thinking about those things. What they are thinking about is, what does getting to the destination look like and feel like, and what are they going to do when they get there? And I'm not talking about checking into the hotel. I'm talking about, dipping their toes into some sand, or hitting the slopes, and strapping on a snowboard or some skis, and feeling the adrenaline fill their bloodstream, and the feeling of powder splashing on their face as they rip across the mountainside. Those are what the things that they're thinking of. That's the outcome. That's what they're thinking of. So you have to have that same mentality when it comes to your coaching business, your coaching offer, even if you're launching a course. Okay, even a simple product like a digital download or something like that. The same mentality needs to come into it. What transformation or what outcome is it going to lead them to? And the more definitive you can get on that clear outcome, the more that the person who might be purchasing it from you is going to be able to see the transformation for themselves. Not necessarily the steps they're going to have to go through to get there, but they're going to know what it feels like when they reach Hawaii or the mountaintop, as far as that vacation destination. Now, at that point in time, once they understand what the clear outcome is going to be, now there's real value to it. Now there's a whole journey that they're about to go through, and they're going to be willing to go through every wall that gets placed in front of them along the way in order to reach that clear outcome. So when you're putting together your offer, you're launching your course, you're putting together your digital download, you're launching your coaching program, whatever it looks like for you, be very, very definitive on what kind of outcome you're going to lead them to. Not only is it very clear for them, but then it becomes very simplified for you in order to create a clear, direct process that will lead them to that outcome. Think of it like this. We've already talked about the vacation destination. That's where they want to go. Well, you, as the creator of the course, the program, whatever that looks like, you are that person that's going to be the roadmap. You're the person that's going to be like, okay, this is how we're going to get there. We're going to get in the car. We're going to take a left. We're going to take a right. We're going to swing by Starbucks. We're going to head to the airport, park the car, go through baggage check. You're going to be that person that knows the logical steps in order for them to reach the outcome that your coaching program or offer will allow them to reach. So think about these things and make sure you're very clear on it, because that's what's going to really be able to add in that real world value, by determining and having a clear outcome in mind. Now, that's number 2. Number 3 along the way. Now, when it comes to number 3, problem number 3 of the 5 biggest mistakes beginner coaches make. And that actually boils down, and since we're talking about, product focus, we've mentioned having a clear outcome. Now it's about really the offer itself. Now, it's good to understand the difference between a product and an offer. A product is just a thing. A product is just this hairbrush. The offer was the package that I got that was 2 for 1. That's the offer. It wasn't about the hairbrush. The offer itself is what we're going to be talking about. Now, what happens is a lot of coaches, and I know because I did the exact same thing, I did not have a clearly defined offer. And what I mean by clear defined offer, and we're going to break down a couple factors that you need to keep in mind when you're making your offer. But what I mean by that is there was no clear call schedule, there was no clear time, there was no clear support channels. Okay. So what this did is actually created a I didn't want to call it toxic, but but it created a very unstable environment for me as the coach and for my client. Not so much that they felt it was unstable, but it was very unstable for me because then I felt like I had to be there at every beckoning call. If they messaged me here, if they messaged me there, if they emailed me, because I did not have the clear offer in place. That also means that you need to be thinking about things like, when are you going to have calls? What time? What day of the week? How long are they going to last? How often? What's the turnaround time for reviews or even for responses to anything they reach out on? And now the reason why you want to have this clearly defined is that there is no questions asked when it comes after a purchase has been made. They know exactly what they're going to get. They know exactly how it's going to be played out. They know exactly what the game plan is. They know exactly what the assets that they're going to get access to are. Everything is super, super clear and simplified, not only because you can repeat that on autopilot for every person that they bring in, creating a very simple onboarding process, making it very simplistic for you to deliver that onboarding process without creating a nightmare in logistics for you, your team, your VAs, whatever that might look like in the long term. And the reason why is that you want to have something that is easy to repeat for yourself so you're not confused. It doesn't create a unbalanced, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say needy client. It doesn't create a bad environment where the client has complete and utter access to you 24/7. Okay. Especially if you don't have it defined and it's not very clear, all that's going to lead to is a lot of nightmare situations. A lot of people feeling like they didn't get what they were supposed to get. You feeling like you don't have enough time to manage the client load as well as growth, all the things that is going to just create a chaotic environment for your coaching program or course. Okay. Which actually leads me to problem number 4, the biggest mistake people make, number 4. Okay. And this actually leads us into biggest mistake number 4, which we're going to play right on the back end of everything we've covered up to this point. Okay. And that is boundaries. Okay. I cannot stress that enough. We've talked about product focus. We've talked about having a clear outcome. We've talked about having a clear offer. And that really leads into creating very clear and definitive boundaries. Okay. When we think of boundaries, we don't think about, when it comes to coaching clients, we think about wanting to serve, and it's our desire to want to help them and everything else. But what this actually can create is very blurred lines, and very much like what I was just referring to when it comes to a clear offer. Because through that clear offer, we can set very clear boundaries. When or where someone can communicate with you, what access level do they have to you? At the end of the day, your time is the most precious asset you have. And you don't want to create a business that you hate operating, that takes you away from doing the things that you want to do in your life, and then kind of makes you an indentured servant to the clients and the income that those clients give you. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be a very balanced agreement between the coach and the client. Because the last thing you want to be able to do is where your clients are now in control of your business. Okay, you want to have control of your business, and the clients want to have control over what access and what they're going to get and the growth that they have. And there needs to be a very harmonious balance there. Otherwise, it creates such a toxic environment, toxic for the client, toxic for you, and ultimately you're going to wind up hating your business. Okay? I know, because I almost did this to myself because I did not set clear boundaries. Now, when it comes to setting clear boundaries, it's very simple. You need to understand what times do you have certain times for office hours? Do you do any of the tech stuff? Do you need to set up separate office hours for that? If there are clear support channels, what are they? Make them very, very clear, and don't bend those rules for anybody. Okay? Because the moment you give somebody an inch, they will take a mile. And I'm only saying this because, not to be like, oh, people are shitty, or, you shouldn't be taking on clients, and oh, it's just going to be a nightmare. The reason why it becomes that way is because somebody is going to take everything that we give them. And it goes back to personal life as well as it does in professional life. People will always treat you exactly how you allow them to treat you. So the better you can set boundaries at the early on stages of your coaching business, the more that you can hold people firm to them and really kind of not really, not, I guess, firewall your energy, your positivity. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to grow your business. That means you have obligations as far as, creating content, or, if you're running ads, or however you're doing lead generation, you need to have the time to be able to do that. You also need to have time to do a sales process if you're doing them solo. You're not managing a team, or you don't have a bunch of closers, whatever, chances are you probably don't. Me as a solopreneur, I've been operating my own business for almost 4 years now. Never even thought about getting a closer or a setter. I do everything myself. Obviously with some VA support from my VAs, some software and stuff like that. But we were not going to bog this down. The point I'm trying to make in all this is that you need to have clear, defined boundaries. Otherwise, people will always be pushing to, dictate their own level of access to you. Okay. And again, I'm not trying to make you a recluse or make somebody, meaning clients don't have access to you, but having very clear, defined access levels and how those levels look will allow you to operate in a very structured way that allows you to deliver for your clients, to over delivering for them, as well as growing your business like you want to. So set those boundaries. You'll appreciate it. Your clients will appreciate it, and everybody will grow together. And there will be no questions. There will be no weirdness. There's no awkward situations. One client gets more access to you than another who's paying the same price. It just creates. It allows you to remove any chaos that could potentially come from it. Now, we've covered up to 4 right now. So I'm gonna take a little breather here, but we're gonna jump into number 5. But let's recap real quick up to this point, because I feel like that we might have lost them along the way, and I want to make sure that you're jotting all these down. The number 1 mistake is being too product focused. Remember, it's about the benefit, it's about the transformation. And remember that if once you've kind of nailed that problem down, or that you've avoided that mistake, then you can have a very clear, defined outcome. This clear, defined outcome will allow people to see what the journey ahead looks like and what they're working towards. Again, think about a vacation. It's not about the journey to the destination. It's about what life is like there, like when you reach the destination. Think about that. So with that clear outcome, now you can really nail down a clear offer. When you have a clear offer, you can then set healthy boundaries, which it brings us up and recaps up to biggest mistake number 4, which is not having clear defined boundaries. Now that we've done a small little recap, let's jump into the biggest mistake, number 5, that beginner online coaches make. And this one is going to be a little touchy, so buckle up. But mistake number 5 is they're not fucking charging enough. They're just not charging enough. And the reason why I say this is because I actually got a slap in the face today, because we immediately want to provide value, and we immediately equate value and price. But value, just like we talked about before, when you have a very clear defined outcome, you really understand what the offer is about, where it's going to take people to. Now you have a real world value, and not value purely based on the price tag of your offer. Now, as you're just getting started, this can probably be one of the most uncomfortable little questions to answer for yourself is, how much do I charge? And again, there's no perfect price. I can't sit here and say you need to be charging this price for this and this price for that. Ultimately, it's about understanding the value of the outcome that you are going to help somebody reach. What is it worth to somebody? What is that? What is it going to allow them to do? Is it going to make them healthier? Is it going to save them time? Is it going to save them money? Is it going to bring them more joy and happiness in their life? That is a priceless value right there. I can't tell you what peace of mind, how you put a price tag on peace of mind. I can't tell you how to put a price tag on time freedom. I can't tell you how to put a price tag on being able to be at home with your children, or being able to travel with your spouse, or spend more time with friends and family. I can't put a price tag on that because those things are priceless. But there's so much value and they hold so much value to people. That's where we really need to start beginning to look at how we price our offers. And it's not a money thing. I can't stress this enough. With the right audience, the right offer, and the right value included with that offer, the right kind of outcome that you'll help somebody with, that is what's going to be something that people are willing to pay money for. Okay, I literally just saw somebody today that was offering 30 days, $1,500, which is more than majority of people that I know that have made 10 times as much money as her. Okay, so honestly, it's really boils down to what you're going to be able to provide, what outcome you're going to lead somebody to. Then you can start to package in what kind of pricing. But for the vast majority of people, the price is too low in the sense that they want to make it affordable. Ultimately, unless you are working with very underprivileged people who you're trying to bring them out of above a poverty level or something like that, then making it affordable is only going to make it more difficult for you to deliver at a high level while maintaining the client load that you need in order to hit the income that you want. And then also being able to have the time and energy in order to generate the lead flow that you need to hit those income totals. So don't think of it so much as the only way to determine value is through price, because price should not be the determination of value. What the true value of something should always determine the price. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anybody who's starting a coaching program, whether you're talking about a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever, for any less than $500 a month. Honestly, honest to God, I would not recommend to anybody starting at a lower investment than that, only because that is going to really be able to deter you, not deter you, but deter the people who are going to wind up wasting your time. And ultimately, if you want to serve people at a very high level, then those people need to understand that there is an investment that comes along with that. Again, the people who you want to work with are going to see that as a benefit, not as, oh my God, you're so expensive. Because honestly, last thing you want to do is have a race to the bottom. And what I mean by that is you look at like Walmart or Amazon or Alibaba or Temu. Temu is really big right now. All these very discount stores. Okay. All the brands you love for discount prices. The last thing you want to do is be that race to the bottom. You would much rather race to the top and see people as you being more like the Lamborghini of online coaching versus the, I don't know, insert a cheap car of online coaching. Okay, you don't want to be like the Peugeot or the Yugo or fucking Kia of online coaching. Okay, you don't want that. Okay, you would much rather be in that range where people can see you as the expert that you are, that you're going to lead them to a clear outcome, that you have a very clear boundaries, that are going to be respecting them as well as yourself. You're going to be able to reach and have a very clear defined outcome. I mean, a clear defined offer, all the while really formulating and leading to the point where you can charge high prices for your coaching offer, for your services, and be able to help people and know that they're the right people that you want to work with day in and day out. Now, again, there are many more mistakes that could be made along the way, but these are by far the five biggest that I see no matter what kind of coaching industry, no matter where they're at on the coaching journey. All of that, really, really hit these five and make sure you avoid these five mistakes. And you're going to watch how your business grows and business blows up in more ways than one, and being able to serve people exactly how you want to. Now, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below or smash that link in the description and send me a message. I'd be happy to discuss with you what your coaching offer looks like and see how we can really turn that into a massive empire that you want for your coaching business. Okay. So as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. It's been an absolute jam. And don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos if you see fit. Anyways, appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit, and I'll catch you in the video. Peace.